Lisa Ross on behalf of Dau Mabil, Your Honor, and I also represent Ms. Pamela Griffin, the mother of a minor child of Dau Mabil. And with me today is my co-counsel, Carlos Tanner.
All right, thank you. Please state.
Good morning, Your Honor. Claire Barker, and I represent the Department of Public Safety in this matter. The Mississippi Capitol Police and State Medical Examiner were improperly named in this. I have with me Mr. Eric Brown from the Department of Public Safety as well.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Paloma Wu, and I'm counsel for Carissa Bowley, Dau's widow and next of kin in this matter.
All right. Is anyone else involved? What we want to put on the record now?
Your Honor, I was objecting to the lawyer from Texas being behind the bar. He's not been admitted pro hac. He has moved, but he does have his cell phone, and other members of the public who are not admitted to the bar in Mississippi are not allowed to bring their cell phones in. So I wanted that to be a part of the record.
Well, and he's, well, the courtroom's open to all people at all times unless we're doing an adoption. And we're not doing that today. So I'm gonna allow him to stay in here and have his cell phone as long as he properly uses it properly. If he doesn't, then I'll take it away from him. Before we get started, I'd like to advise the parties as well as anyone else here my thoughts on what we need to do today before we listen to the lawyers. From my reading of the pleadings that have been filed by all parties that were filed yesterday, I have not read anything that may have been filed over tonight. It is apparent that the process that was not properly served upon all defendants in this case when this court issued this emergency order on April 18th of 2024. But this court at the April 24 hearing specifically did ask if the process was done when this court was led to believe it had been done. However, this court may have and probably would have had the hearing last on April 18, 2024 due to the community interest in this alleged death and the suspicion of disappearance of Mr. Marty's body. So it's very possible this court would have gone forward on the emergency hearing on April 18th without notice to all parties, considering that there is a significant interest in this man's life and death, and also that his death could be by nefarious means. This court does not know if this was true or not, and there's been nothing led to this court to believe it was by nefarious means. And from far as I know, no one else has told me that. However, I do think it's something that we need to take serious in this matter and try to find out what happened. So this court is not necessarily upset that the process was not properly done. However, this court is upset when it was led to believe it wasn't done. But, as I previously said, I'm not here to chastise anyone. I'm here today to try to find out a proper solution to the problem that now exists and what needs to be done to show all parties who have an interest in the life and the unfortunate death of this man that all has been done to find the real and actual cause of this man's disappearance and his untimely death. And I think that's what we owe the community as well as all parties to this action. I have read all the pleadings I just stated that were filed late yesterday before we went home, and I have not looked to see if there was anything filed since 5 o'clock yesterday. I am satisfied that the wife of the deceased has a legal right to be in this action, as well as the State Department of Safety and still the other parties. I also believe that the brother possibly should be in this action as the legal guardian of the son of the deceased or the natural mother of the deceased, of the son of the deceased. However, at this point, unless you can convince me otherwise, I'm reluctant to dismiss my order of a few weeks ago unless the autopsy has been properly performed by the Department of Safety and all parties are satisfied in its conclusion or in some form of that. But what I do believe needs to be done, at least now, is to continue the injunction, which I believe sought by the Department of Public Safety in their motion on page 8 of their motion. However, from reading my order this morning, I believe my order is pretty close to what the department wants on page 8. However, I'm willing to amend it in any way to satisfy the Department of Public Safety. In summary, this court believes that the state shall have all rights to conduct any autopsy they wish to conduct without any interference with any party or any person, and to find and make their findings based upon what they believe is the facts. And no one should can object to that, but I do believe the parties of the deceased may have a right to a second autopsy, but that'll be something we have to deal with later, perhaps. But with that said, I want each party now to tell me, well, I'll listen to each party as to what they want me to do. So, Ms. Raj, you gonna call any witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor, we would call Ms.
Who?
We call Ms. Carissa Bowley,
Alright, do y'all have any witnesses?
None on behalf of the Department of Public Safety.
Ma'am?
Not on this time, but we reserve the right depending on what the testimony shows.
Alright, call your witnesses, a ruling vote.
Carissa Bowley,
Mr. Lucy?
right here.
Alright, go ahead, sir. There's a ruling vote.
The rule is in both, Your Honor.
Alright, if you're, well, who else, who we gonna exclude? Who we excluded from the courtroom?
We're excluding right now the foster mother, Your Honor, and the mother of minor child. I want to call her to put in text messages that she received from Dau Mabil before his death.
May it please the court, may I speak? This hearing was noticed as being on the defendant's motion to modify the TRO.
Yes, ma'am.
In that case, should defendant proceed?
I don't care who goes first, so.
Since we noticed the hearing, if Your Honor is inclined, we would prefer to present evidence first.
Alright, Ms.
Your Honor, no objection.
All right,
No
ma'am.
objection, I'll take her on cross.
You may step down, ma'am, for right now. Alright, call you first.
No witness, Your Honor, just an opening.
Okay, go ahead.
Good morning, Your Honor. May it please the court?
Yeah, good morning, Tim.
As I mentioned, my name is Paloma Wu, and I represent Carissa Bowley, Dau's widow and next of kin in this matter. Carissa's only interest in this case is to support a thorough investigation into the circumstances surrounding her husband's death in order to discover the truth and to ensure that anyone who is responsible for his death will be punished to the fullest extent of the law. To that end, before the court is Carissa's motion to clarify, realign the parties, and/or modify the injunction. It was filed the day the court's order issued in this case. Since filing this motion, Carissa has filed an answer and an amended answer. Carissa has never voiced opposition to a third-party autopsy, and in fact would have readily authorized one had she been asked by the plaintiff. However, the first time she was aware of such a request was through this lawsuit, which was filed before police informed her that her husband was dead. This has placed Carissa in the difficult circumstance of responding affirmatively to a lawsuit ordering her to do something that she had never declined to do, brought by a person who Mississippi state law specifically bars from requiring her to do it. All of Carissa's filings in this case make clear that she embraces the opportunity for a third-party autopsy. Since the initial lawsuit did not provide any basic quality or timeliness standards for a third-party autopsy, and neither did this court's order, pursuant to Carissa's authority under Mississippi Code Section 416165, which provides that she and only she can exercise the authority to approve a third-party autopsy under Mississippi state law, Carissa requires that a third-party autopsy be completed within a month after all law enforcement entities known to need access to Dau's remains for their investigations no longer require such access, and that it be completed by a pathologist who is at least as qualified as those conducting autopsies for the state of Mississippi. Specifically, he or she must be an MD or a DO who is certified in anatomic pathology by the American Board of Pathology, and a competent pathologist who is designated by the state medical examiner or the Department of Public Safety as a pathologist qualified to perform post-mortem examinations and autopsies. Those qualifications can be found in Mississippi Code Section 416165, which provide statutory eligibility requirements for pathologists conducting autopsies for the state medical examiner. Carissa requires these safeguards to ensure the absolute integrity of evidence gathered as part of ongoing local, state, and federal law enforcement investigations. Carissa cannot allow an interrupting third-party autopsy conducted by an underqualified pathologist to compromise evidence, particularly if it is needed to hunt down and hold accountable anyone who took her husband's life. Carissa's motion, if granted, could save this lawsuit from dismissal because the current plaintiff, Carissa's brother-in-law, does not have standing to sue Carissa to make her let him authorize a third-party autopsy.
I think I said that in my opening statement.
Your Honor, I believe, if you'll allow me to clarify, that in your opening statement, you expressed ambiguity with regards to whether he might, in a different capacity, have the authority to authorize a third-party autopsy. But state law, section 413725, specifically bars him as a sibling of a decedent with a surviving spouse from authorizing a third-party autopsy under any circumstances.
I didn't know this at the time the order was issued. I didn't know your client had an interest in it because she wasn't here that day.
And as you have provided, and as the attorney on the other side has admitted, Carissa was not served with process and she received no actual or legal notice.
Right. Well, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just telling you I'm going to allow her in the lawsuit.
Allow who, Your Honor?
Your client.
Oh, I appreciate that, but what I'm specifically saying right now is the authority of the plaintiff to bring this lawsuit against Carissa, or even alongside Carissa.
I agree with you. He doesn't have standing. The only reason he would allow him to stay in is since there's a minor child that's not your client's child, he could serve as the legal guardian or somebody can.
Your Honor, my understanding is that no evidence has been submitted that he is a legal guardian, and I would like to provide the court with the text of the governing statute. What it provides is that it would be unlawful for anyone except Carissa to authorize a third-party autopsy. To put it another way, it would be unlawful for the state crime lab to allow anyone other than Carissa to authorize a third-party autopsy. This court's April 18th order notwithstanding. That's section 413725.
Well, I don't know how to make it any clearer. I was going to allow that to happen.
I think that I do not want to harass the court on this matter, but I'm trying to explain that it is not only the right to authorize, it is the exclusive right of a surviving spouse to authorize. This lawsuit is about authorization of a third-party lawsuit. And Mississippi Code 413725 is specifically about who may authorize and who may not authorize a third-party autopsy. And it provides that a sibling has no legal right, nor does any descendant that's under the age of 18 if a surviving spouse is present. This is what the legislature determined would be the deciding factor of who has sole legal authority. You can imagine why the legislature, in its wisdom, determined to choose one person to have this authority, because what kind of uncertainty would it create every time somebody died if everybody who had a blood relation to the deceased had a claim on whether to authorize a third-party autopsy. So the legislature, in its wisdom, has created an interlocking pair of statutes that govern Carissa's rights at law. And her rights at law as a surviving statute cannot be eroded in equity. The other statute is Mississippi Code Section 731158, which allows for and provides for who has control over the disposition of a body. And it unambiguously states that the surviving spouse, if there is one, has sole authority and not a surviving child.
I was convinced after I read your motion yesterday that you're right. How much longer do we have to beat this dead horse?
Your Honor, I don't like beating horses. I am trying to explain that.
I think I'll come to that conclusion about 5:30 yesterday afternoon.
We seek from the court substitution of Carissa.
All right, I've always said I was going to do that in my opening statement.
Do you have any other questions?
No,
Thank you, Your Honor.
state anything.
No, Your Honor, you granted the relief that was requested in the alternative in our motion to dismiss, so we don't.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to dismiss this actually.
No, you, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak over the court. Right, and I didn't say that you were going to dismiss the action. You had said in your opening statement that you have a tendency to agree with DPS in requesting the alternative relief. That's it. Yes, Your Honor. So,
Motion, yes.
and that's all we have to, our argument to the court right now.
All right,
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Ross.
Yeah, first of all, the Mississippi Department of Public Safety's motion was not properly noticed for hearing today, and they were specifically told by the court administrator that it would not be heard. It was filed on April 26th, and so I have not had time to respond to their motion. But on behalf of Dau Mabil, Your Honor, it's been said today that I told you, you asked me when we were here on the 18th.
Ma'am, I'm not here.
May I just?
Well, let me interrupt you one time and then you can interrupt me later if you choose to. I'm not here to chastise you or anyone about what was done and not done. As I said before we started this, I would have probably heard this matter anyway, since I considered it some suspicious circumstances around this man's death, and a lot of people were alleging there was nefarious actions. So I'm not concerned about the process now, but I'm not happy that it wasn't done, but it is what it is, and I'm moving on from it.
Well, Your Honor, as an officer of the court, I owe the court an obligation.
All right, well, go ahead and
to
tell me.
speak openly about this matter, and I have no reason to ever misrepresent facts.
I didn't claim you did.
I'm just saying this, the press is here, and I wanna put this in the record, Your Honor. Also, Your Honor, I relied on the process server who brought the notices up, who said that they had been served, and those notices were filed, and he indicated that they were, in fact, served. So, there was no attempt on my part to get the court or to lure the court into making a decision that the court was not, predisposed to make. Also, Ms. Wu raised the question of the minor child, and as you all know,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
did, put in the birth certificate of the minor child who does have an interest in this matter. Your Honor, Mississippi law on this matter is not clear. The Mississippi Supreme Court has never spoken in an autopsy when asked the wife if her position is correct. She didn't have to come to this court and ask for an autopsy. He came because he was being told that no autopsy was gonna be done, and he had an interest in, making sure that whoever harmed his brother is brought to justice. And that's precisely why he did what he did. And then, Your Honor, they wanna have it both ways. They wanna say, well, Your Honor, throw him out, you don't have jurisdiction, we don't properly serve. Well, they waived, service of process, proper service, by coming in here and filing this motion to clarify, the motion to realign the parties, and motion to modify the injunction. If the court had no jurisdiction, Your Honor, they should have raised the issue and had the court to dismiss this matter, because Ms. Bowley does not need an order from this court to do an independent autopsy. Mr. Mabil does, and that's precisely why he sought an order from this court, Your Honor. And we do have emails, Your Honor, that we would like, our text messages, Your Honor, that we would like to put in that go to the issue of separation or estrangement, because the Mississippi Supreme Court has not spoken to this matter. The Mississippi Legislature did not define who a surviving spouse is, and is my argument based on case law that is not binding on this court, but is instructive, that Ms. Bowley may not be a surviving spouse, inasmuch as we believe that she was separated from her husband, or from Dau Mabil at the time of his death.
Well, do you contend that she is not sympathetic to try to find out what happened?
Well, Your Honor, I believe that she is hijacking this proceeding to say that she wants it, because she didn't have to come here. We had to come here. Mr. Mabil had no other choice but to come to this court to seek relief, because they were never going to give the body to him or give him access to the body. And all of this stuff about us going out, Your Honor, why would we come to this court and ask the court for an independent autopsy and then go get a rogue medical examiner? Our medical examiner is going to be as qualified or more qualified than any medical examiner over there at the Department of Public Safety. So to suggest that we would spend thousands of dollars, Your Honor, trying to find out why or what happened to Mr. Mabil, and we would go out and get somebody not qualified?
Oh, I'm not saying you would,
But that's what they're saying. That's what they're asking the court to, and then they're asking the court to force us to use a medical examiner that they choose. Well, they get to choose their own medical examiner. It wouldn't be an independent autopsy, Your Honor, if the Mississippi Department of Public Safety picked someone from its own list. There are thousands of medical examiners in the United States who have no connection to this action. And the fact is, Your Honor, in those cases where families have gone to court to fight over the body of the decedent, the medical examiner, they did not take a stand. They said, Your Honor, we're going to hold this body until you let it go. And instead, the Department of Public Safety comes in this court and accuses Mr. Mabil of trying to take over their investigation. Your Honor, we're not trying to take over their investigation, but we do want an independent autopsy, and we do want the medical examiner that we choose and pay for to conduct the autopsy. And yes, even if the court finds that Ms. Bowley is the surviving spouse, you can waive, and she waived it. She waived that requirement, that it be the surviving spouse. The surviving spouse can waive, and by coming in here saying that she embraces the court's order, that she would have given Mr. Mabil permission to get the autopsy anyway, that, you know, she just wants to modify the order. Well, is she gonna pay for the autopsy, yeah?
I haven't asked her.
Yeah. So, I mean, Your Honor, this is a clever way of saying you want an autopsy, and then when she gets the
Has
autopsy,
the state finished this autopsy?
Your Honor, they won't tell us anything about the autopsy, but I will say that when we left court on April 18th, Your Honor, they would not, before April, the morning of April 18th, the state of Mississippi would not even confirm to Mr. Mabil whether that was his brother who was found in the Pearl River, and they knew it was. When we went out and held a press conference, they had the sheriff from Lawrence County to put out a little tweet that said, oh yeah, that was Mr. Mabil's body, and there was no foul play. Well, how did he determine that, Your Honor? And the public does have an interest to know. The public was asked to go out on missions to find Dau Mabil. If the public has an interest, then the public still has an interest now. And the problem with the way they want to do it, Your Honor, is that if you let her have her way in this matter, she can give an autopsy and she never has to disclose to the public what the results of the autopsy were. Your Honor, if there was no foul play in this case, we want to know that too.
Well,
So that Mr. Mabil's mother is trying to get to America right now from Nairobi, Kenya, so that she could be allowed to attend her son's funeral. If you give her complete control over this body, this lady who was over in a refugee camp might not even be able to attend her son's funeral. You know, Your Honor, this is a court of equity. The Mississippi Supreme Court has not ruled on this issue of who a surviving spouse is. There are questions, Your Honor, about whether they were in fact together at the time. In fact, on March 6th of 2024, Carissa Bowley sent a text message to Dau's friends, and she said, for one thing, she said that she had left Dau, and she said that one condition, she gave him
Your Honor, if I may
conditions
interject, Your
upon his
Honor.
return.
wait, I have an objection.
Objection, Your Honor. Before the court is Carissa's motion to modify the order. Opposing counsel has
Yeah.
stated that the Mississippi Supreme Court has never ruled that surviving spouse does not mean the spouse which survives the decedent. Normal
Yeah,
rules
Honor,
of statutory.
She interrupted my argument. She gets to come behind me, Your Honor. This is totally improper what she's doing. I sat and heard her whole argument, Your Honor.
Well, I'm gonna let her make her objection. What is it?
Objections.
It's on relevance, Your Honor.
All right, I don't overrule at this point. All right, go ahead.
Okay. In the text message that Carissa Bowley sent on March 6th of 2024, she said that she had left to live with her dad, and she said one condition that she had given Dau for her to return was him to reflect on his verbal abuse. She said that was her interpretation, not
Excuse
here.
me, objection, Your
And
Honor.
figure out what
This is testimony by an attorney. If she would like to get these documents in,
Okay.
she surely can try, but this
Oh,
is absolutely.
Well, Your Honor, I called
inappropriate.
Carissa Bowley. I called Carissa Bowley.
All right, come around, do that.
The-
Okay, come on.
You swear that the testimony about you, the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you.
Yes.
You see.
Now approach him.
All right, your witness.
Ma'am, I just handed you a document marked as Exhibit 2. Can you look at that document and tell me if
Yes.
you wrote it?
Yes, I did write it.
Okay.
May I say more?
I'm asking the questions, ma'am. Do you see where you said, "I don't got him"?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm
Pardon
not
me,
there
does
for
opposing
him.
counsel have a copy of what they have before the witness?
It's filed on MEC, ma'am.
When was it filed?
Yesterday.
What time?
Whenever it was filed, ma'am.
You know,
Alright, y'all, let's take a recess and you get a copy.
All rise.
Is she gonna stand on my whole
Well,
examination, Your Honor? Okay.
I
Thank
don't
you.
tell people what to do.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Alright, your witness.
Ma'am, can you identify the document that was just placed in front of you?
Identify as in, it's a text message that I sent many weeks prior to Dau's disappearance.
And you sent that text message on March sixth?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I'd like to have that document admitted into evidence at this time.
Any objection?
Your Honor, I object.
Why?
Relevance.
Don't rule, don't let it be marked.
Exhibit 1.
Alright, your witness.
Your Honor, may I?
In the text message,
Ma'am, you don't get to ask questions at this point.
Yes, sir.
Your lawyer will reiterate you.
Yes, sir.
did you say in the text message that you don't got him?
Yes, ma'am, I see it.
And did you say in the text message that I'm not there for him?
Yes, ma'am, I see it.
And did you also say,
Your Honor, objection
I'm not-
leading.
Wait a minute.
Objection leading.
She's a
This is for
hostile
witness.
witness.
But she's a hostile witness,
did you also say, I'm not far from him, but I can't stay with him? Did you say that, Ms. Bowley?
Yes, I did.
May I approach, Your Honor? Can you identify the document?
It's a text message from March 7th.
From you to who?
From me to Pam.
And who is Pam?
Pam is Destin's mama.
And who is Dustin?
Destin is my stepson and Dau's son,
Okay.
and Pam's son.
You told Pam on March 7th of 2024 that, oh yeah, I meant to say, I'm staying with my mom or dad. Did you tell her that?
After the last text message that did not include that information so that she would have that information, yes, because I was telling her that I was staying near but not with Dau for those 4 nights, approximately 4 nights.
There is nothing in that text message that says 4 nights, is it?
I'm not saying that I said that.
Okay. Well, we're talking about the text message right now, ma'am.
Yes, I would like
Is
to
there-
read it. Hey Pam, Dau is having a hard time and he's not behaving well, for lack of a better term. He's drinking a lot and doesn't treat me and our now former housemate well. I am 100% here to help with Destin when you need. Unfortunately, because of work, I just need 2 weeks in advance to request off, but the only shifts I work are Wednesday nights, Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sunday lunch. Any other times I am free. Both my parents let me use their cars. Oh yeah, I meant to say I'm staying with my mom or dad near him, and I'm still in contact with him, just not staying in that house with him. And
So-
that lasted 4 days.
Okay, that's not in the text message, is it?
I'm just telling you for
Okay.
informational purposes.
Is it in the text message?
No,
And you didn't tell Pam in the text message that this was just gonna be for 4 days?
why would I say
Okay.
something that was
Well, why
not
would you-
Wait a minute,
true
wait,
yet?
Wait,
It was
time
still
out.
unfolding and
Wait a
happening.
minute, you cannot
Why-
argue with the witness, and witness, you cannot argue with the lawyer. Just answer the question. If you need to explain it, you may explain it.
Then I would need time to explain it. Yes, sir.
You have a right to do that.
yeah, I wouldn't explain something that if I didn't know how many nights I was going to need to be away, because it took a few days for Dau to apologize to me and for us to have a conversation that was productive and not counterproductive. And as soon as that happened, I was staying with him again.
And how old is Dau?
He is 34 years old.
Okay. But you refer to him as misbehaving, as though he's a child in the text message?
Well, I put behaving in quotes because, and I even say for lack of a better term, because I was just expressing my experience and my experience of what was happening between us. And I even say in the text message that that's not the term I would like to use, but I was just trying to inform her of the feelings that were happening.
Who is the housemate?
Your Honor, I'm going to log an ongoing objection to relevance regarding the exhibits that were filed with 27-3 in this case is not relevant.
Well, overruled, but I'll allow you to have continued objection.
Who was the housemate?
A woman who lived with us.
What's her name?
Her name is Atlas.
Who?
Her name is Atlas. She also used to go by Isabel. Or
Does
is
she have a last name?
Yes, Williams.
Williams, where is she now?
I know she's living with her sister, but I don't know where that is.
Okay, did you tell someone that she was living about 30 miles away from Jackson now?
Your
Did
Honor,
I tell
testifying.
someone when? I don't know
She
when
could-
you're
yeah,
talking
since
about.
when?
Wait a minute, time out. She can lead the witness. Overruled.
Since the time you said reported Dau missing.
Repeat.
Since the time you reported Dau missing, did you tell someone that Isabel was now living about 30 miles away from Jackson?
Request for hearsay testimony, Your Honor.
No.
Who's someone?
Overruled, go ahead.
Ma'am,
I didn't not speak about her, but I also didn't go out of my way to tell people who wasn't relevant to that our housemate didn't live with us anymore. I'm not sure.
when you say housemate,
Yes.
she didn't pay Dau rent, did she?
She paid rent for the last 3 months that she lived with us. She paid full rent on time.
And when Dau went missing, how much money did Isabel owe him?
I don't know.
You didn't check, you didn't keep up?
I mean,
with
I know a
that?
rough estimate, but I don't want to guess.
Okay, well, what's the rough estimate?
Your Honor, she asked and answered.
Why do we need to know this?
Yeah, because it goes to whether she's a surviving spouse or not.
All right, I'll let her answer. Go ahead, if you can answer.
What's the estimate?
Your Honor, asked and answered still.
I'm gonna let her answer.
But I already said that I don't know, so.
Well, you said you had an estimate, but you didn't want to give it because you didn't want to give it.
Because
So-
because what's the
requesting that the
use of
witness-
an answer that's not a real answer? That's
All
not
right,
true.
y'all please quit interrupting. Please. All right, I'm gonna let her answer it.
I-
And if you can answer it, please give it. If you can't, just say you can't, okay?
I can't.
All right.
Do you recall on March 25th when you reported Dau missing? You recall that night?
Yeah.
And at that time, how many blood relatives did Dau have in the United States?
One
Okay, and who was it?
is Bull.
Okay, what about his son? He's a blood relative too,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And you didn't call Dau Mabil, and you did not call Pamela Griffin?
That's
at
not
that
true.
time?
I did call Pamela, and I called her first because she's in town, unlike Bull, who lives, 6.5 hours away.
Ma'am, a telephone in Mississippi will reach 6 hours away, don't you?
But
know
he's
that?
not gonna help me find. I was trying to find Dau. That was what I was trying to do. I was solely focused on finding Dau.
On March 20th.
And a brother who we see once a year who lives 6.5 hours away cannot immediately help me find Dau.
Did he immediately come to Jackson once?
Of course he did. Of course he did.
And on March 25th, you were not out, you hadn't put together any searches for that?
Yes, I had.
On March
All I
25th.
was doing was searching for him. That's what I was doing from the moment he was not at home, was searching for him.
Ma'am, if y'all keep talking over each other, we're gonna recess the hearing. If y'all wanna have a hearing, we'll do it. All right, try again.
Yeah, when you spoke to Mr. Mabil on March 26th, the day after you reported his brother missing, did he ask you to send him a screenshot of the text message that you said that Dau sent before he went walking that day?
I don't remember.
Okay. May I approach you, huh? Is that, ma'am, I placed the document in front of you, document 27. And do you see that text message in the document?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and who is that text message from?
So that was me forwarding Bull the last text message that I received from Dau, which was at 11:58 on March 25th, which said, "I'm awake, my phone is charging, I'll be walking a square in the usual area." And I forwarded that to Bull to let him know that that was the last time I heard from Dau.
This is not a screenshot that you took of that text.
Right, it's a copy and paste. I copied the message and I pasted the message.
Did you send that message to yourself
What do
on
you,
March 25th? Saying that you were leaving, "I'm awake, my phone is charging, I'll be walking."
I
That's
copied and pasted that. That message was received. That message was sent to me from Dau at 11:58 a.m. on March 25th. I copied the message, I pasted the message to Bull, and I sent it to him.
And my question to you is, did you use Dau's cell phone to text that message to yourself?
My babe texted that to me. I was not even at home. He texted that to me at 11:58 a.m. when he went on a walk, and I was not at home at that time. I was doing a yard work.
Your Honor, I'd like to invoke the rule of completeness and let Carissa read the rest of the screenshot that is in document 27 above paragraph 8.
I'll let you do that when you cross the director.
Thank you, Your Honor.
On March 23rd, were you separated from Dau Mabil?
No.
And prior to Dau Mabil going missing, did you repeatedly play a feminist podcast to irritate him?
Relevance, Your Honor.
Did you just ask if what I
Wait a
listened to
minute, wait a
was
minute.
listened to in
Ma'am.
order to irritate
Ma'am.
him?
There are objections, so you need to be quiet. Okay, what's the objection?
Relevance to whether Carissa was listening to a feminist
All right,
podcast.
why is that important?
Yeah, because it goes to whether her love and support for her husband, if he reports that she was playing these feminist podcasts to irritate him, to pick fights.
Well, how would we know if that's going to irritate him? We can't ask him that.
Yeah, and I have his text messages that were sent by him to Pam, and we plan to call her.
All right, I'll let you answer it. Go ahead.
No, I didn't listen to them to irritate him.
Did y'all have arguments about those podcasts?
He would bring it up, but I would avoid arguing about those things because it was something I like to listen to.
Did Dau tell you that he was over you before he went
No,
missing
he never
on
told me
March
that.
25th?
No.
Had you been struggling with controlling your emotions before Dau Mabil went missing?
We had mutual arguments in which we both got angry.
And during that time, did Dau Mabil tell you that he could not do that anymore?
We were working through that literally at the time. I don't know if I'm supposed to remember word for words. I mean, we were having arguments and we were trying to have fewer arguments and trying to work through them to the other side.
And were you still near him, but staying with your mom and dad?
I only stayed away until the time that he apologized, which was only 4 nights, I believe. And even then, I was about 5 blocks away in the same neighborhood where we both walk, and I still saw him at things like soccer and other things.
Well, why weren't you walking with him on the day he went missing?
Because I was at work, because I was letting him sleep, because he had woken up at 2:30 in the morning previously and had slept for 2 hours the night before, and when he fell asleep on the couch, I decided to let him sleep so that I could take care of the yard for an hour and a half.
What yard?
A neighbor's yard who we work for.
Was that prearranged that you would go to?
Yes, it was.
Ma'am, if I can finish my question before you answer. Thank you. Was it prearranged that you would go to the neighbor's house the following day?
We worked together and we knew that we had a yard to do that day, and it was a very short job that we both knew that we had on our agenda for that day. And yeah, we both knew that that was the only work we had to do for that day, otherwise the day was our day off.
So you want this court to believe that Dau, who generally walked with you when he went walking,
The state's testimony objection, Your Honor, strike from the record.
What was the objection?
She misstated Carissa's testimony. She.
All right, restate the question, I didn't hear.
ma'am, did you walk with Dau often?
We walk together often, yes, and we also walk separately sometimes.
And on this day before he went missing, you just mysteriously went to a neighbor's house?
It wasn't why would it be mysterious at all?
You
That was
just-
what we did for work. Why would that be mysterious?
Both of you are on your day off. Y'all are a loving couple on March 25th of 2024.
Yes, we're a loving couple on March 25th, 2024.
And, okay, and you only had a short job to
And
do?
I let him, yes, and I let
Alright,
him
let me
sleep.
interrupt you one more time. I don't want y'all arguing with each other. Listen to the question, give an answer, and give her time to answer.
Ma'am, you said you let him, was Dau your child? That's a question.
It's not a serious question.
It's
You
not.
don't need, that's not a serious.
It's my question,
Serious
and you don't
question.
answer it.
You don't get to characterize the question.
She just
ma'am,
asked me if Dau was my child.
I understand he's not. Ma'am, rephrase the question.
Was Dau a man
Yes, he was my husband.
and he had his own will? He could do what he wanted to do, right?
Like fall asleep on the couch. Yes, he could.
And like make his decisions that he didn't want you anymore?
Yes, he could.
And that's what he had done.
Not to my knowledge.
Ma'am, do you know who harmed Dau Mabil?
I have no idea, and I would love to find out. And I've been asking for nothing except for answers from the very beginning.
Have you submitted yourself to questioning by the Jackson Police Department?
They asked me anything that they could think of from the very beginning. I've only been answering questions the entire time.
Okay, when did you answer questions for the Jackson Police Department?
The entire investigation, as they were asking me questions. Any question that popped into their mind, I would ask. I was in constant contact with them.
Did you put your father on the trail at 2 o'clock on the day?
My father is also a man who decides where he wants to go, and he decided to take a walk at 2 p.m. that day, and he happened to not see Dau, although he did tell me that he was going to take a walk. He did tell me that he, yes.
This is going, y'all are getting out of hand, and I'm frankly had enough of it. Both of y'all need to calm down. We'll do this here all day if we have to, but we're gonna do it orderly and concisely, and we're not gonna have confrontations between the witnesses and the lawyers. So please refrain. All right, what's your
to JPD and Capitol Police repeatedly doing the search for Dau?
Ongoing from day one.
My question is, have you submitted yourself to an interview where you actually sat down in a room and answered that
I
question?
went to try to get, JPD asked me 2 times for a
Listen.
statement.
Ma'am, when I'm talking, you shut up.
Yes, sir.
Alright, listen to her question, don't start answering it till she's finished, cause the court order has to take her down, then you.
Okay.
Don't do that again. Alright, try again.
Beg the question. Ma'am, again, have you ever submitted yourself to a sit-down interview with the Capitol Police or JPD?
I have not been asked to do so.
Did you turn over all tapes and videos that you found doing your search of Dau?
Absolutely.
Okay, who did you turn them into?
To JPD, to Capitol Police, and then to the group of family that we had in the text, and also the group of friends and community who were helping us to search.
Did you turn in your phone to JPD?
They did not ask for that. I had to use it to organize all these things.
And did you turn in your phone to Capitol Police?
They did not ask for it.
Ma'am, let her finish the question.
Did you go to Lawrence County to ID Dau's body?
No, I did not.
And did you go to anywhere here in Jackson to ID his body?
No, I did not.
And did you talk to the sheriff from Lawrence County on April 18th of 2024?
No.
So when the sheriff said he has spoken to the family, he was not talking about you?
Yeah, I knew of no such remarks, and no, he was not talking about me.
Has the Mississippi Department of Public Safety told you that whether they have completed an autopsy of Dau Mabil?
A lawyer on my team asked, so, no, they did not
Good
say.
question, counsel. I'm so sorry.
Do you know how Capitol Police or the sheriff of Lawrence County was able to identify the person pulled from the Pearl River as being that of Dau Mabil when they did not have the DNA test results from his brother back?
Calls for speculation, Your Honor.
If she doesn't know, she didn't. Yes or no, yeah.
I'll let her answer if she knows.
Capitol Police, when they informed me that it was Dau, they informed me that they knew that from the screw in his hip, from a hip surgery, and from his dental.
Now, you indicated in your pleadings that you embrace the court's order to allow a second autopsy, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so if the medical examiner that we hire meet the conditions that you asked the court to impose, would you have any objections?
I would not have objections.
And do you plan to allow Dau Mabil's mother and his brother and his son to attend his funeral?
I would never want anything other than that.
And you've complained about the investigation you said, right, conducted by Capitol Police and JPD?
Yes.
And what were your complaints?
Well, at different times, it's been different things. As it was ongoing and we hadn't found out yet, it was that nothing, everything was too slow because I knew that every day really mattered for finding him. So I was frustrated by the amount of time it was taking. And then also, I've just not been impressed with their inability to use each other as help in the investigation instead of kind of bickering between themselves.
And when you say bickering between themselves, are you saying that this investigation into Dau's disappearance has been impeded because of infighting between Capitol Police and the Jackson Police Department?
I only know that to me, they both would indicate that the other one was being a hindrance to them or was somehow hurting their efforts rather than helping their efforts. And they would both complain to me about the other one.
Did Capitol Police ever complain to you about Dau Mabil?
No.
Objection, Your Honor. I'm going to object to this line of questioning on behalf of DPS. This is hearsay. It's not relevant to the issue at hand.
Well, I'm gonna allow you, and the reason is I'm gonna allow everybody to have a bite at that, but this is apparently a very sensitive matter, as I mentioned in my opening statement, and I want everybody to feel like they've had a chance to air their grievances and so forth.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Do you know Max Barron?
Yes, I know Max Barron.
And who is he?
He is a coworker to me, and he has been a friend and co-manager to Dau.
Did Dau often swim with Max Barron?
No, not often or not recently. Not that. No.
But Dau could swim,
Yes, he could swim. Yes.
and he would go to the reservoir with Max, and they would swim looking for frisbees at the bottom.
That was a story Dau told me about a long, like not a recent story,
Okay.
about back even before we were together.
But he never told you that he unlearned how to swim, did he?
No.
What time did Dau get up on March 25th, 2024?
He told me that morning. I woke up around 9, and he told me that morning that he had been up since 2:30 in the morning.
Do you know Isaac?
I know Isaac, yes.
Who is Isaac?
A soccer friend.
Where does he work?
He works at a hotel near Callaway High School.
You know the name of it?
It's an Oyo hotel, and it's changed names, so I can't think of the
Do
specific
you know why
name.
Dau would have been there at 6:30 in the morning on March 25th?
Because Isaac works nights, and Dau would sometimes visit Isaac when Isaac was working nights.
Did you have a blow up at Sal and Lucas with Dau when he was talking to the other kitchen manager?
I don't know. I don't know
Back
what
to
blow up.
questions of it. Who are the managers at Sal and Lucas in the kitchen?
There's Ethan, who is a supervisor. There's John Pixler, and there's that might be all.
In the weeks before Dau went missing, do you recall having a blow up in the kitchen when Dau and John Pixler were having a discussion about chivalry.
No.
So anyone who said that is telling a lie on you.
I don't know what conversation about chivalry you're referring to.
Ma'am, when there's an objection made, you need to stop.
Sorry.
What's the objection?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation about whether somebody who may say something is telling the truth or lying, who is not Carissa.
All right, how are we gonna get this in?
I'll ask him
All right.
it another way.
All right.
Did you and Dau have a blow up in the kitchen at Sal and Mookie's? About 2 weeks before Dau, you reported Dau missing.
We did not.
Ma'am, did you understand that you did not need to come to court to get an autopsy? Since you're the surviving spouse?
I understood I had to come to court because I'm a defendant in this case because I was named.
Okay. But my question to you is, you understand that you don't need a court order if you're the surviving spouse to get an autopsy. You do understand that, don't you?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for a legal conclusion.
All right, sustain.
At the time of that Dau went missing, where was his ID?
In the wallet, we share a wallet and it has both of our IDs in it. And since I drove to work with the truck, I had the wallet with both IDs.
Okay, where was Dau's? Did Dau have a bank card?
No, we had reduced our banking down to only one card and one account. And it was mine from a long time ago.
Dau worked, how many jobs?
Sorry.
How many jobs?
Well, he worked part-time at Salamukis, and then we worked part-time together doing yards. And I'd like to also say, he did have a card which was issued to him by Salamukis, which is how he got his pay from Salamukis. That was also in the wallet.
Your Honor, I'd like to allow to continue the objection to this line of questioning is irrelevant.
All right, you may have that objection.
So, help me to understand this. Dau went walking without a telephone, without an ID, and without a bank card?
Yes.
Did you ever tell anyone that Dau's wallet or Dau's identification was locked in a safe at your mother's home?
No, that's not true.
Is it not true, or is it not true that you didn't say it?
His ID card was not in a safe at my mom's house.
What about his passport?
That may have been in a safe at my mom's house.
Dau didn't live at your mom's house, did he?
We had lived there before, but we were not living there at the time.
And when was the last time you lived at your mom's? With Dau?
I don't remember. 2023, I believe we moved out in April from my mom's to where we now are staying.
When you were coordinating, well, who coordinated the searches for Dau?
I did, and also a family friend named Ellie Jibble, and also Austin, my brother, who took off work that entire week, the entire first week, and my dad, James Bully.
Excuse me, how many brothers do you have?
I have 2 brothers,
Austin and Stephen?
Spencer.
Spencer. And is Austin in the courtroom?
No,
That's Spencer?
yes.
Okay. Where does Spencer live?
He just moved to Texas. He was living in Alabama.
Was he in Jackson, Mississippi on March 25th of 2024?
No, he was not.
And was Austin in Jackson, Mississippi on
Yes,
that
he was.
Your Honor,
Does
lodge an
not-
ongoing objection to relevance. This is a motion to modify a court order.
You've had one since we started.
Thank you, Your Honor.
does Austin live here in Jackson?
He part-time lives here in Jackson with our mom, and he part-time lives in